Good evening, friends. So, after a gap of 1 day break and 1 day Sunday, 2 holidays, we are resuming our this Kalpa Startup class series, lecture series. Today, we have with us Mr. M. Fasil from the Kerala Startup Mission to apprise you about how to get registered with the Startup Mission, whether it is in Kerala Startup Mission or other states also. And then, what are the funding support and other support provided by Startup Mission and Startup India Mission also. So he'll be generally talking about it from the perspective of Kerala Startup Mission, which is one of the top such a venture in this country. They won awards also in the past. So maybe our Jasim would like to introduce our guest and then we can proceed with the lecture. Jasim, you would like to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good evening, all. As Murli sir mentioned that we are back after 2 days, and today we are discussing the startup registration funding support. And today we have Mr. Fasil is dealing with the portfolio investment in the Kerala Startup Mission. I welcome Fasil to this Kalpa Masterclass series, and I welcome all of the participants to this series. Sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Jazim and Muralidharan sir. Thank you for the warm introduction. I'm very delighted to speak with you online here. It is a great opportunity to interact entrepreneurs associated with CPCRI. So before I going ahead, am I audible to you? Is my voice is okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay. I hope my slides are also visible.
Yes, yes. Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Okay. So thank you once again. Thank you for having me. Today, I would like to talk about how you can register your startup and what are the funding avenues available for a startups in general and how you can go about it on a high level overview. If needed, we can have one more session within in detail. So my focus area is equity investments in Kerala Startup Mission. I help startups to raise their equity investment from angel investors or venture capitalists. That's my primary job. So little bit about Kerala Startup Mission. Some of you maybe heard the name. So we are Government of Kerala's agency to promote innovation and entrepreneurship in the state. So we have been doing this from 2014 onwards. As Muralidharan sir mentioned, we have been continuously ranked as one of the top performing startup ecosystem enabler in the country for last 3 years continuously. We are doing a lot of programs to support startups from all the stages, from idea stage to scale up stage, and also different types of startups, be it in hardware, software, biotechnology, life sciences, D2C, be it in any sector. We have a different programs for supporting entrepreneurs. Even student entrepreneurs also, we are having one of the largest student entrepreneurship network. It's called IEDC, which is set up around 500 colleges as of now. So we have, I am also from the Cochin office. We have one of the largest startup facility in the country in Kochi, having around 5 lakh square feet of built up space, which includes startup offices, labs, event halls, different incubators, accelerators, etc. I request, if you are if you are visiting to Kochi, please take time to visit KSM also. Every Saturday, we do a open house session. We explain everything what we do every first Saturday of every month. I request everyone to, if you are in Kochi sometime, please explore. We would be happy to host you. So in terms of geographical presence, KSM is in north. We are present in Kasaragod. In south, we are present in Trivandrum. In between, we have Kannur, Calicut, Palakkad, and Kochi. Kochi is the largest hub. Then Trivandrum, Calicut. These are the major three hubs. Also, we are having presence in other districts also. We are actively trying to expand this presence to different parts of Kerala. So this is about a small brief about Kerala Startup Mission. So today, what I want to discuss on the first step, I want to discuss how to register your startups. I assume that many of you are looking to register a startup, or you are in the early stages of a registering, setting up a venture. So how to go about registration? That is one aspect I want to talk about. Second, I want to talk about the funding opportunities. What are the funding options we have as Kerala Startup Mission, and also a little bit about other options, other agencies provided funding schemes and programs also. And third, most important, how you can raise large funding when you need equity funding, how to go about this. And also we can take 15-20 minutes of time for a Q&A. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer in the end. In between also, you can use chat, communicate anytime. Feel free to drop any messages in chat. I'll reply in between or after the session. I'll reply. Somebody's already messaged to drop my number. I'll definitely share my number in the end of the session. Cool. Yeah. So before we start, like I would like to understand, we have 55 people joined, right? I would like to understand how many of you already started a venture, you already having a startup or business running. Can you please give me a response in the chat? So that will be helpful for me to understand. Prince has raised his hand. Pankaj. So I'll take a 10-second, 15-second pause here so that you will be able to respond. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of response. Prashant is saying he's yet to start. Uh, Chandraganda is saying started but not active. Understood. So many of you already started, and also I would like to understand how many of you have an idea in mind and they want to pursue. To learn more about starting up a venture, what are the nuances of setting up a venture? You joined this kind of good program. So can you please give us some kind of inputs to me on the chat, so that I'll be able to understand, who are all trying to start something. Also, if feel free to give a note, a small brief about what you are doing in one liner also, that's also fine. That would be helpful for everyone to understand what our others are doing. Sounds good? Yeah, Prince is saying organic fertilizer manufacturer in Kerala, in Kochi. I assume that you have already a running business. Roshni is saying planning to start a precision agri area. Okay, that's something very new. I'd be happy to have more responses that will energize the entire group. Rajesh is saying yet to start, but planning to add value added coconut in Tamil Nadu. Very interesting. Pankaj is saying we have established a brand, Yogic Roots, which is into premium quality spices. Vijay is saying value addition in cocoa. Great, great. Thank you, everyone, those who responded. That gives me some idea about your venture. So, before I moving ahead, like I would like to set the context here. So, we are all use the word startup, right? Everybody is now using it as a startup. So, can you please help me to understand what is in your mind when somebody is saying, "I am a startup"? What kind of venture you consider as a startup? So, what is your definition of startups? Can anyone unmute and tell me, or can anyone put in the chat any any tries or anyone? Can you tell me what is your understanding of startup? So, we are going to use this word startup a lot of time.
Sir, can I?
Please, please.
As far as my understanding is concerned, I believe startup is an idea which has or an innovation which has the potential to be commercialized.
An innovation with potential to be commercialized. So, yeah, that's a very good answer. Very good answer. Thank you, Siddhartha.
Sir,
Any other options? Anyone has to say anything else? Okay, cool. I'm moving ahead. So, there is no absolute right answer. So all the answers correct. So I usually term startup as a company which designed to grow fast. That is a very common, very popular definition of startup. So which is said by a popular startup enabler who started Y Combinator. His name is Paul Graham. He's based out of Silicon Valley. They help a lot of startups to grow and scale. So according to them, they're saying a startup is a company which is designed to grow fast. So that is very, very sensible, and it has a lot of inner meanings as well. So when somebody is saying they are a startup, the most important thing is growth. What differentiates a company or a small business from startup is a thing is growth. To grow on a substantial, on a good growth rate, you will need innovation. You will need business models which is new and innovative. Also, you will need processes and systems which can scale. Also, the team, the entrepreneur, the team should be very agile. I think we are all clear on this. Can you please confirm so that we can go ahead? You can type in the chat or any way you like to communicate with me, that is fine. Are you clear with this concept? Okay. So I'm moving to the next section, right? So how to register your startups. Once you have an idea and you done a good amount of market research and you decide you wanted to take the idea to the next level. So what you will do as a next step, you want to register your startup, right? Then it become a officially, you can call it as a startup. If anyone wants to call you as a startup, you will be having a legal name and everything, right? Before that, you are a person with an idea or a team with an idea. Once you register the startup, any agency or anyone can formally interact with you as a startup. So, I'll try to explain this in very simple 3 steps so that you can remember it. You can do it very easily. So the first step would be, you need a legal entity. So the legal entity, when I say legal entity, you need to register your company or LLP, partnership, whatever it is. according to your preference, right? So the selection of a private limited or LLP is very tricky because every business has a different needs, different people coming in, different profit sharing ratios, shares has been distributed differently, right? So, as a first step, what you have to do, you have to set up a company. To set up a company, what you have to do, this is basically done by chartered accountant. You can approach any chartered accountant and explain your scenario. For example, if you and one of your friend is setting up a company, how much equity you are sharing in between, is it 50-50 or 60-40, whatever the ratio, like how many of you full time, part time, you can explain all these things with all these details. He will suggest you a best possible uh, legal legal entity. I Most of the companies, those who are looking for fundraise, private limited would be going to be a good option. Okay. So once you got a private limited registration, usually it takes 7 days to 1 month. On a normal period, if you have all documents correct, it will take 7 days to 12 month, to 1 month. So it is done. Once it is done, you can go to the Startup India website. As you know, Startup India is the central government nodal agency, those who can recognize a company as a startup, right? Like there are a lot of companies being registered every day in India. How you can differentiate your company from a startup? By getting startup recognition. Getting startup recognition is a now it is a very easy process. You can do it online. I have given the website here. The website is startupindia.gov.in. If you go there, within 20 to 30 minutes, you can complete the registration. It is complete online process and it is free also. You don't have to pay anything. If there is any clarification required in your application, they'll be sending an email to you asking further clarification. You can do it. It is a 4-5 step process. You can do it in a 20 minutes to 30 minutes. So there it will be asked your company registration details, so that it comes as a step number 2. First, you have to complete the company registration, then you have to come to the Startup India portal. Okay, I hope that is clear. Once you have the Startup India recognition, KSUM also providing a unique ID to each startup, so that by obtaining unique ID, this company will become eligible for all support schemes provided by Kerala Startup Mission. This is also a completely online process. This is also takes only if it is a Kerala company, it's taking only less than 10 minutes. You can do it yourself online very easily. So I have given the website. Once you completed the Startup India registration, you can directly come to this website. In this website, we have designed such a way all the information which you are given in the Startup India website will be automatically pulled off to this website as well, so that you don't need to type it again and again. This is also can be done in 10-20 minutes. These are the 3 steps you have to complete. I will just summarize again. First, you have to register a company that you can do through any chartered accountant, company secretary, Then you can come to the Startup India portal for startup recognition. It is usually done in 5 to 7 working days after your application. You will get certificate generated in 5 to 7 working days. It is also online, free of cost. You can do it yourself. And step 3, get Kerala Startup Mission unique ID, which is a 10-20 minute process. You can do it online. You can do it yourself by visiting the website which I have given here. I'll read it out also. The website is startups.startupmission.in. So this is the most important part of the today's my session. I wanted to make sure that it is clear for you. So do I need to explain it? I'll be happy to explain it. No problem. Can you please confirm that you clearly understood these three steps? Yeah, somebody is asked, Hafsa is asked, please type registration link. What I will do, right after this presentation or my session, I can share the entire PPT with you so that all links, steps, everything will be, you will be getting you as a reference. Whenever you want to register, you can look at it. So all the links and everything is already given in the website, is in the PPT itself. I'll share it with the organizers. They can share it with you guys. You, since you already registered, they'll have all the details. So does that works? Wonderful. Because there are some other links also coming in. So if I type here, it will take time also, and I'm not sure it will be effective as sharing the PPT, because once the meeting ended, all the links will not be accessible, right? So I want to make sure that everyone understood these three steps clearly. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask to me. I'll be happy to explain it once again. I'll take a 30-second pause here. If you want to ask, feel free to ask.
I have a doubt. So we have this private limited and LLP. So is proprietorship considered, or is it not considered?
Yeah, that's a very good question. The problem is on the Startup India website, there is no option to select proprietorship. You can select OPC Private Limited, which can be done, but the normal proprietorship is not able to register as a startup under Startup India. So you would not be able to do that.
So can I add one thing to that?
Sure.
So the Startup India is recognizing a registered partnership firm, whereas the KSUM is not recognizing such an entity to be registered with the KSUM.
Now, once you registered with Startup India, you will definitely get KSUM registration also. In terms of this partnership, registered partnership, Startup India also, this option is available sometime it's not available. Maybe, right, we are actually now asking only for details. If you have already Startup India registration, you will definitely get registered. If there is any technical glitches, you can just write to my team. My team will, contact you back and help you with the registration. We are actively, helping startups to get registered in Kerala also. We are planning some registration drives as well, Startup India registration drives as well. So if there is any such issues you found, feel free to reach out to me, or my office also will be happy to help you on that.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I am from Karnataka. My company registered in 2019 with the unique idea, and now I want to register under startup. Is it possible after 4 years registration in startup is possible? Please.
Yes, it is possible. Up to 10 years, you will be able to get benefits of being a startup. Up to 10 years.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, cool. With interest of time, I'm moving to the next part. So the funding part, right? So before before talking about each funding scheme or program, I'll talk about generally what are the options available. One is grant. Grant means it is a free money. You don't have to return. You you have to show only the utilization certificate. That is a one option. The grants is given by KSUM and many other agencies. The second option is seed funding, or generally it says as a soft loan or seed funding, which is comes as a loan. You have to return. It will have an interest rate of 6 to 8% in between, but it is collateral free. There is no collateral or personal asset will be asked. It will be completely based on the project. Second, patent reimbursement. If you are having any successful patent, the cost of the patent will be reimbursed to you as an innovator or as a startup. Fourth option is equity funding. You can give a certain portion of your company, a number of shares to an investor. Investor will give you money with an exchange of equity. It is based on a valuation. Your company will be valued at X amount, and based on that, you will provide funding. You must be reading about equity funding by different firms, by like every day in newspaper or any article. If you read, there is a lot of funding news happens, right? So before diving into deep into each funding schemes, I would like to explain to you how the funding works. You can clearly see a graph which shows from left to right different stages of the startup. Every startup first they'll have an idea or a concept, then they will try to validate this idea by giving samples to customer, prototype to customer, MVP to customers. Then they'll create something and they'll launch, they'll grow. That is the usually steps. So if you look at idea stage, most of the time self-funding works. If I have an idea, I don't have a proper validation to that, most of the time self-funding works. Then if you are in validation stage, some grants will be provided. Then friends and family funding will be taken. So these are the options available in the validation stage. If you are in the prototype, in the early building stage, then you have an option to get angel funding or early stage venture capital. Then you have you are in the massive or mass launch time. You can go for proper venture capital and further venture capital rounds like Series A, Series B, something like that. On the x-axis, you can see the time also differentiate. It happens in an order. So in the initial time, I wanted to convey that in the initial time, it's usually works on a self-funding or fund put by the entrepreneur. In the next phase, usually organizations like KSUM or anybody wants to support the startup, they'll come to the picture. The private investors or third party investors comes on a validated business models. I wanted to make sure that it is clear to you. One of the funding, the grant funding which KSUM gives, it's called innovation grants. We have been able to support around 400 plus companies in this through these schemes. We have given more than 20 crore funding to different startups through this scheme. There is a website called grants.startupmission.in. It is clearly speak about what are the guidelines, which stage, how much you will be able to obtain, and how to apply guidelines for using the fund. Everything is there. So now I want to give a gist about what are the options and what are the funding available. So under the innovation grant umbrella, we have idea grant which works on an idea stage. So if you are having an idea, you are trying to build a prototype. You are trying to build a prototype. What you can do is you can get up to 3 lakh. If you are having a prototype or MVP, you want to build a product up to 7 lakh, you will be able to seek 7 lakh grant. Then you have product ready. You want to go to market or hit the market up to 10 lakh. Startup will be eligible. Startups in the stage of growth, they'll be eligible for up to 15 lakh. And also there is a grand component for deep technology with substantial IP and R&D component. They'll be able to get funding up to 30 lakh. Yeah, I'll take a pause here. So is this clear for you? If you understood well, please respond in the chat so that I can, if this is clear for you, I can move to the next slides. Okay, thank you. So I'm moving to the next slide. So I spoke about grant. Then we have a soft loan or seed loan kind of funding support for startups. It's called KSMC seed loan. We also given this funding also more than 100 startups. Up to 15 lakh a startup can ask. There will be an interest component also. Once you taken the loan, you will no need to repay for first 12 months. After that, you will have to start repaying. So more details about this scheme is available in the website. I'll share this PPT with you so that you can explore more about it. Similarly, there is a soft loan or seed funding for Startup India also. This is up to 50 lakh. This 50 lakh can be taken as different options. One is debt. One is you can taken as a CCD, which is basically a loan which will convert into the portion of equity in future. Up to 50 lakh, there is an option, but there is an eligibility criteria saying that this company, the startup should be less than 2 years. Yeah, next patent reimbursement. If you are getting any successful patent filing, India or international, will be able to cover the cost for Indian patent up to 2 lakh and international patent up to 10 lakh. So far, we were able to support more than 50 startups in this scheme. More than 50 startups were able to reimburse their cost of patent. So if you are registering as a startup, there is an option called patent fast tracking. You will be able to get your patent much faster, more than 3x, 4x faster than normal time. So if you are a startup trying to file a patent, please speak to your, patent consultant or patent attorney who is helping you. Ask them to do it via patent fast tracking under startup scheme. So you'll get your patent filed faster than normal model. So this is basically a small list of the schemes which I mentioned, primarily focused in KSU or Kerala Startup Mission provide. There is a lot of other agencies in Kerala itself. There is Kerala Financial Corporation, Kerala State Industrial Development Corporation, lot of agencies supporting entrepreneurs. there is KEED is there, Kerala Entrepreneurship Development Institute is there. Lot of organizations supporting startups on a state and central level. So there is I have shared a link here which directs into a blog post by Startup India. This blog post is a collated 50 schemes, particularly funding scheme, which can avail for startups. So please do refer it. They are updating it constantly. Please refer these schemes. So there will be definitely many schemes which will be suitable for you. Also, I am sure that because of you didn't know that you should not miss an opportunity. I recommend everyone to go through this site and explore what are the opportunities available for you. So far we talk about agency-based funding, grant, and soft loan. Now we are going into the equity funding part. I want to make sure that you are clear with the concept and you understood about the equity grant schemes. If you are understood well, please respond to me. Otherwise, we can move to the next section of the topic. I just saw a question in the chat is asking validity of KSM unique ID. So the validity of KSM unique ID will be same as your startup recognition. The startup recognition validity is 10 years. So the unique ID, KSM unique ID validity also going to be 10 years. As per the latest regulation, it is 10 years. We don't know it will be extended or not. Earlier, it was 7 years. I hope I answered your question. So can we move to the next section of the next topic of the today's session?
Yes, I think you can go ahead, sir, because no more questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for confirmation. So let's move to the next session. I'll talk a little bit about this topic. This is going to be a lengthy topic. I'll try to summarize or explain it as simple as possible. Then we can go to the Q&A. So this is basically sometimes startups require large capitals, right? So all startups cannot be built by funded by entrepreneur or funded by any grant or soft loan, right? Sometimes startups needs 5 crore, 10 crore, 100 crore, that kind of funding. So for on that time, there is a common method is called equity funding. Startup will dilute their equity or they'll provide equity to investors on behalf of funding or with the exchange of funding. That's how it happens. This is also has a cycle how it works. So there is basically if any startups in the beginning everything going to be negative cash flows and everything. So that's going to be a burning business in the initial time. It is usually called valley of death. Many startup die there because they'll not be able to identify a good positive cash flow positive business model or product may not work as expected. So in the initial stage, seed capital is there, angels is there, and you can see the triple F, it is called friends and family and fools in common in the early stage investors. Then once the startup is reached the break-even period, then there is other funding options and later into IPO as well. This is the normal cycle. If you look at the investors, there is primarily two types of investors investing in startups. One is angel investors. Second one is venture capital firms. As you can see, the angel investors are individuals who are investing in startups. If you look at the range of the funding, usually an angel investor will invest 1 lakh to 3 crore. But for 1 lakh, 5 lakh, it is not a good idea to dilute your shares. For that kind of amount, it is advised to, get some grant funding or soft loan from any of the scheme program which I mentioned. If you are looking above that, try to reach out an angel investor. Angel investor simply is an individual who has disposable income to invest in startups like any other asset class, right? People are investing in different asset classes, be it in gold, real estate, stocks, any asset class they are investing. But angel investors are the types of people, those who are ready to invest in startups as well. So the advantages, if you go to an angel investor, you can close the funding very easily. Usually it takes 1 to 3 months. There is no much complicated process. They invest and they stay in the company for longer time. The disadvantages would be compared to VC firms, angel investments are invest lesser amount because it is an individual who is investing his own money. VCs are investing large capital; they are raised by themselves. I'll explain it later. And best suitable if you are looking for funding, your venture with some good, if you have some good personal network, it will help you. If you don't want to engage that person in a board member or something, the angel investors will work better. You don't need much help. You need money and some advices. Angel investment will work better. But always remember, in India, there's a cap. An angel investor usually invest less than 3 crore. So in our website, we have listed a few of the prominent angel investors in Kerala. There are a lot of other people also. We have listed few people. So how you can raise funding, reach out to these people over email, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, etc., and share your startup idea with them. Once they are convinced with your idea, they will invest in your startup. That's how it works. And there is another thing called angel network. Angel network is simply a group of angel investors, usually called angel network. A group of angel investors, a set of like 10 or 20, 30 angel investors coming together, and they're creating a group and they're investing in startups. If a startup is trying to raise 1 crore, usually 3 or 5 investors jointly put the money, so that the risk also reduce, the help also, the startup will get help from all of them, and they can invest in more startups. If they have allocated 1 crore of money, they'll be able to invest large number of startups using the angel network. This is the angel network concept. Nothing but angels joining as a group and creating a angel network. So I have given a few prominent angel networks from Kerala. There are a lot of other networks as well, like Mumbai Angels, Chennai Angels. There is a lot of angels as well. I just put some of the major angel networks from Kerala. So I'm moving to the next set of type of investors, those who are going to invest in startups. It is called venture capitalists or VC. They are basically a firms with registered funds. Usually they register a large ticket size funds and they invest in startups. Their ticket size starting, their investment size starting from 50 lakh to 100 crore. Usually in Indian scenario, it's usually we see 50 to 100, 50 lakhs to 100 crore investment. Sometimes it can go beyond that as well. They are basically a firm, not unlike individual investor. They are a firm investing in startups and they are taking in equity by a firm. It has its own advantages and disadvantages. Advantages would be, since it is a firm, there will be a formal structure, there will be a significant amount of support, help will be providing to build your venture. Also, they'll help you to get targeted milestones, targeted exits, etc. to through professional help. And also sometimes, or most of the time, I would say, this venture capital networks, venture capital firms are set up by experienced entrepreneurs. So they usually help you in terms of building the startups as well. The disadvantage would be they are pretty aggressive. They are in the business of investing. What they'll do, they'll invest and grow the company, exit, and then invest in another company. So they always push for growth. So that is I don't know, it's an advantage, a disadvantage that is good for startups also. And best suitable if you want to raise multiple rounds. For example, a startup wants to raise 10 crore today. After 2 years, they want to raise another 20 crore. Some businesses are heavily capital intensive for large capital requirement or multiple capital requirement. Venture capital firms are the best suitable. Also, if you are looking for larger amount, more than 1 crore, 2 crore, VCs are the only option. I have listed a few VC firms, VC funds. The fund of the VC firm called VC funds. Few of the funds already invested in Kerala startups. I have listed a few names here. All these details are available in our website. Although there is a page called Investor Cafe. In that page, we have explained everything in well and detail. After the session, you may look at through that as well. And I also wanted to touch up a little bit on what are the few points, what are the assessment criteria and a angel investor or a venture capitalist looking for. So I primarily classified into nine separate segments. So whenever if you are reaching to an angel investor, be prepared about answer any questions may arise in these areas. Also, otherwise, try to convince through communicating this point. Try to convince your startup is a good avenue for investments. So one would be what is the objective of this venture and what problem you are trying to solve, because all the startups are trying to solve any kind of problem. Larger and high value problems are startups who are trying to solve larger and high value problems are capable of, getting large markets and making good wealth and value creation. Next point would be management team. Who is starting this startup and what is their passion and motivation to start these startups, and also experience and skill set to build this venture. Do they understand the business, and also do they have capability to build this? And third, what is the market landscape? Is it a growing market or a shrinking market? For example, if somebody is starting today is a newspaper printing company, that's a very shrinking market, right? Or D2D, like Dish TV. There is a lot of companies like uh, lot of companies were doing Dish TVs earlier. That is a shrinking market. So, what kind of market you are trying to capture? That is another thing. Then how scalable this business is. Is this problem only affects in a particular area, or this is a pan-India problem, or it is a Kerala problem, it's a Goa problem. So trying to understand how big is the problem, or how scalable the solution. Once startup build the solution, can they sell pan-India or globally? The fifth point would be customers and suppliers. Who is the customer of this product on a precise? If it is a farmer is doing, farming on a, like, what size? Is it a one person doing farming or small farming or a large farming? So who are all the customers? Who are all the suppliers? That is the fifth point investors would like to understand. And competitive analysis. If the product has competition, what are the advantage this particular product or company is having? The next point would be sales and marketing. Once the product is made, how the sales and marketing happen among the team, who can sell the product, like what is the activities to be carried out for sales and marketing. Then financial assessment about their revenue projections, expense projections, what are the financial assessment they have done. And last point, but important point, once an investor investing in this company, how they can exit, how they can take the money out with a profit, with a, larger benefit from the company. What are the avenues available there, or my money will be stuck? These are the 9 points an investor trying to understand from a startup presentation, or try to evaluate a startup using these points. Generally, there may be some additional points also with respective to startups to startup. So, but generally, these are the topics on an investor trying to explain. So, I will take a small pause here. I hope everyone understood this. If any point or anything I want to elaborate, I would be happy to do that. Otherwise, I'll move to the next topic, next section of the today's topic. Is that clear for you? If you clear, please respond on the chat. Okay, I have received one question from Prashant Narayanan. What would be the exit? Okay, the exit happens 3-4 ways. One, the startup is, raising another round of funding, so that they are giving an exit to existing investors on a higher value, on a higher amount what they have invested. That is one. Or usually startup will buy back the shares. That's also happened. Other times, startup will go for an IPO. They'll list in the public markets. Other options, there will be mergers, acquisitions. This startup will be merged or this startup will be acquired by another large company. Then that time also, this investor will get exit. Most of the investment exits will happen on a whenever somebody reinvest or if when the company raising another round of investment, the previous round investors will get an opportunity to exit with a good profit. I hope I answered. There is one more question from Prashant. Do any government firm support make an investor pitch? So if you ask, yes, there is a lot of support available. One if you come to our website also, we have given a lot of information and content about how to create a pitch deck, and also we go through a lot of demo pitches also. We listen to demo pitches and provide feedback that we are doing regularly. And also we are conducting different sessions, how to create pitch decks and everything. If you go to our YouTube channel also, there is a lot of videos or sessions we have done as posted as a video. Recorded video is already there. Yeah, I hope I answered. So Prince is asking financial assessment, what we have to focus. The financial assessment for a startup, the primary thing would be projections, how these startups are expected to grow on a revenue perspective also, an expense perspective also. What are the key assumptions, how they have envisaged the profitability, like how much funds will be required to deploy time to time. So these are the things will require. The primary focus on a financial assessment would be projections. Projections for a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year period of time, how you want to build projections for your business. So Uday Kumar is asking how we can protect our idea or product when we try to find a investor or a VC. So the best approach would be, if you're having a technology design process idea, if it can be patentable, file a patent. If it is a something we can trademark, copyright is applicable for you, do that. These are the common options. And also, if you are sharing something very secret or something your own intellectual, then you can share a NDA, non-disclosure agreement, also there. You can sign that. But I suggest you to go with patent filing, so that your technology, whatever you have developed, will be protected. So these are the option to protect an idea. So since you asked about the technical aspect, it's going to be patenting. Patenting going to be a good idea to protect your idea. So we have one more question, which is how and who decide rate of interest in case of funds taken from investor or venture capital firm. So there is no interest concept for an angel investor or venture capital. They basically invest for a valuation multiples. I'll explain to you. So if you are investing in a company which is very early stage, they are just starting up, very small revenue. If you are investing their company for a like if you are buying shares for a 100 rupee or a 100 rupee per share, if you are buying, then your expectation would be after 5 years, can you sell it for a 1,000 rupee? So investors, startup investors, primarily looking at valuation multiples. When this company grows, a value of one shares increases substantially, so that I'll get valuation multiple of a shares. So there is interest component or interest concept is not there in the startup investment, because many startups cannot afford large interest to be paid, because they are struggling with revenues, and they are in the early stages. So the startup investment for VC and angel investors is happening on a equity based shares valuation model. They expect over a period of time, value of shares will be increased, so I can sell my shares on a higher price to a next investor. That is the expected return in the domain of angel or VC investment. I hope I answered your question, Satyanarayana. Farhan is asking how to do a early stage startup valuation at the first investment. That is always tricky. Early stage investment in the startup investment is very difficult. So there is no clear science or clear rules for it. So it's basically, if you are a startup, if you are saying a value, if an investor agrees that valuation, then that is your value of the startup. But there is some industry standards a company valued, and also if usually when a company raises their first round of investment, usually it is 3 to 15% of shares usually dilutes, like that. There is some industry standard practices, but there is no clear guidelines saying that this company valued this much, because every company is unique in terms of innovation, in terms of their startup founders, and their envisaged growth of the company is all different. So there is no thumb rule, but primarily it works if any valuation agreed by investor, that is the real valuation. I hope I answered the question. I'm moving to the next section. This is the last part of my presentation. So the tips would be, if you are looking for raising capital from an angel or a VC, plan to meet lot of investors, plan to meet 10, 15, 20 investors, so that you will also get a better understanding, better valuation, better deal for you. So that will be helpful. I always advise that meet as many investors possible and choose the best deal for you. Second, in startup or any industry, relationships are the key things. Relationships are the most important thing. So try to build relationship with VCs and angels. So even if you are not looking for funding right now, have relationships and just let them know that you are existing and you are doing this. Also try to convey that you seek some advices, some inputs from them. And the don't burn bridge just means like we should always be careful about how we started and how we are going. So we'll have to have get back to people, so that keep that warmth of the relationships and connections we are making. Also, whenever you are pitching your startup, put your passion into that presentation and the pitch, so that they'll be like, most of the time in case of startups, the energy and passion the entrepreneur brings makes lot of changes. And also I suggest you to follow up on the conversation. Once you send an email, don't leave that behind. Try to follow up the conversation. In the early stage, there is some metrics. When I say metrics, profitability, that lot of ratios and metrics: daily active users, customer order value, etc. But try to convey the vision also. What kind of business you want to build also, that is also important. So that try to convince, that's also. The last point, pre-qualify your investor means, before you speaking to someone, before you spending time to present to someone, try to understand they are your qualified investor. Like, for example, if you are trying to raise 10-20 crore, then there is no point speaking to an individual investor, right? Then there is no point of speaking to an angel investor. Then VCs are the only option, right? So try to pre-qualify, and all the investors have different theses, different focus of investing. Some of them invest in education, healthcare, agri, Web3, real estate, different set of sectors they have preference. Try to understand they are qualified to be invest in your segment, or they are naturally interested in your segment, so that you can make sense of the time and energy you are spending. So that research, that homework you have to do before meeting any investor. So these are the tips I wanted to share. So by this, I would like to, complete my formal slides here.